Welcome to Google, everyone. Everyone feel comfortable? Love our new space? All right. We love having you here today. This is a big honor for us, and thanks for making the time to be here. My name is Sebastian. I'm responsible for our operations at Google here in Canada. On behalf of Google Canada and all the Googlers you see here today, welcome to Google's new engineering and development facility in the beautifully restored Brightop block. Thanks for coming. We, of course, are delighted to be joined this morning by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Canada's Minister of Innovation, Science and Economic Development, Navdeep Bains. Mayor Barry Urbanovic and Mayor Dave Jaworski are also here, along with many valued members of the Kitchener-Waterloo community. Google has deep roots here in Canada. Back in 2002, Toronto was one of the first international offices for Google. We opened for business in Kitchener-Waterloo just 10 years ago with 4 employees. Today, we're 400. And nationally, we have 700 Google employees across the country in 4 different offices. And our investment in Canada and this region is for the long term. We have tripled our space by moving into this building, and we are very bullish on the continuing growth of this engineering team and the investment in Canada. There's a lot of Kitchener-Waterloo history in this building. It was built in 1902 for the Merchants Rubber Company. On the very same floor where we're gathered today, enormous machinery chugged along, churning out rubber soles and rubber boots every day. These were loaded onto rail cars on the famed Grand Trunk Railway, which literally ran through this building's backyard. KW's exports would get shipped across Canada, to the U.S., and might even find their way across the Atlantic. Today, if you look past the climbing wall, the game rooms, the micro kitchens that we've made famous here at Google, you can still spot some carefully preserved vestiges of KW's industrial past. We've taken a century-old building and wrapped it in the most environmentally friendly building technology available today. But if you look at the polished old concrete and oversized beams, you'll see a reflection of this region's very bright future. The Google engineers in Kitchener-Waterloo today, many on the steps behind me, work on products like Gmail, Chrome, Ads, and Fiber, which are used by hundreds of millions of people around the world. Like their predecessors, they ship using a vast physical infrastructure. But instead of the Grand Trunk Railway, we rely on high-speed digital networks. This is an important Canadian export story, and it's not unique to Google. Within a few square kilometers of where I'm standing, there are over 1,000 startups. On the other side of those tracks I mentioned, just a block from here is the Tannery, our former office space. Google first opened an office in Kitchener-Waterloo back in 2005, and we were an early partner to local accelerators here in the community, including the University of Waterloo's Velocity program and Communitech, to help expand their presence in this region. And together, Velocity and Communitech are nurturing a startup community which is very densely, with density matched only by Silicon Valley in the U.S. And fueling all of this innovation and growth are some very, very bright people, a lot of whom happen to be University of Waterloo alum. In fact, nearly 60% of the engineers in this office are University of Waterloo graduates. The university remains one of our top schools for recruitment, not in Canada, but throughout the world for Google. Between the world-class schools and a thriving startup community, there are few places on the planet that Google would rather be today than right here, expanding our investment in Kitchener-Waterloo and throughout Canada. Frankly, it's like lightning in a bottle. You could try this in 100 different places and never achieve the same type of community that's been created here in KW. And for anyone who's in this community, you know exactly what I mean. And so much of this community is reflected back through what you see at Google as well, the engineering talent, entrepreneurial innovation, and global reach. As I suggested, there's a very real glimpse here of this region's future. Some of them are standing right behind me. Our young guests from Northlake Woods School have been in a Codemakers workshop this morning in our office, learning some coding fundamentals. Thank you guys for coming today. I appreciate it. No pressure, but chances are we're hoping that the next big innovation comes from you over the course of the next couple of years. So please study hard. Once again, thank you for joining us on what is a very exciting day for us here in Google Canada. In a moment, my colleague Stephen Woods, Google Canada's engineering director, is going to explain how we're going to make this office opening a little special, official, a little geeky, a little different. We're Google. We always try to do something a little bit different. But first, and very honored, I'd like to invite Prime Minister Trudeau to say a few words. Prime Minister.
First of all, thank you, Sam. Thank you to all of you here at Google who welcomed us so warmly, welcomed me, answered all of my questions, well, most of my questions. I didn't get time to ask all my questions because there's just so much to see. It really is amazing to see the innovative, forward-thinking, hard-working, proud Canadians gathered here, participating not just in success for KW and the area, but success around the world. The innovation, the entrepreneurship that stems out of here, the tools we're giving to young people and people around the world to be empowered, to be full participants in the extraordinary changes we are living right now is really, really impressive. And, you know, it's easy to sort of sit back and say, oh, you know, so much of what's going on is virtual, that when we get to celebrate the concrete by a new building opening up, by the tremendous jobs and hard work being pulled together, and the impact on what has already been an extraordinary hub here in the KW area for innovation and you know, participating in the cutting edge of the global economy is really a wonderful thing to be part of. Je suis très, très touché d'avoir pu participer aujourd'hui, d'avoir pu être entouré par des gens brillants qui sont en train de faire des choses fascinantes, qui vont avoir un impact sur nous tous, mais sur les prochaines générations aussi. Google has always worked very, very hard, not just to be a good corporate citizen in general, but to be a strong and active player in Canada. And a number of years ago, I had the opportunity to go visit the Google offices in Montreal, where I got to play on a climbing wall and ride a unicycle. And unfortunately, the stature that comes with my new job meant that there was no question I wasn't going to be allowed to be on a unicycle. That's not a photo op that people want out there. And I understand. There are limits to how much people are happy with a geek prime minister, and I know I'm pushing those limits. Really, what's happening here really, really matters. Like I said, not just to the region, but to the country and to the world. And it's an incredible pleasure to be here today, along with Navdeep Bains, our Minister for Innovation, Science and Economic Development. As we move forward as a country through ups and downs in the global markets and in the Canadian dollar and in the economic times and the jobs we're having and challenges that people are facing in their daily lives as well, we also know that there are tremendous bright spots. And how Canadians, who have always been problem solvers, always been thinking about in an ambitious and optimistic way about the future and about the opportunities for our kids and for the world, this continues to be an essential part of how we're going to continue to grow Canada. And it was a pleasure to make a big announcement this morning at University of Waterloo to stop in to the centre in Blackberry, where they control so much of the global networks that people around the world rely on, and to wrap up my visit with KW with this great new building that indeed ties the best of the extraordinary history of hard work and service to the world of this region with what is on the cutting edge of where we need to be, not just today, but in the decades to come. I'm very, very excited to be here today, very, very optimistic about KW and indeed the entire country, and glad that you're all a part of it. Merci beaucoup.